Our next story is a reminder that Earth is a living, breathing, moving planet. It shakes and it shifts, and that can be a disaster.
Stretching for hundreds of miles along California's edge, the Pacific Coast Highway has long been seen as one of America's most breathtaking drives. It clings to cliffs, winds past crashing waves, and connects small coastal communities to the rest of the state. But beneath its beauty lies a problem that cannot be seen at a glance. In several places, the ground supporting this iconic road is no longer stable. It is slowly, relentlessly moving toward the ocean. What makes this situation especially dangerous is not sudden collapse or dramatic destruction. It is the opposite. The movement is gradual, almost quiet, unfolding inch by inch over years. Yet this slow pace is exactly what makes it so threatening. According to recent studies from California transportation and geological agencies, the instability affecting sections like Last Chance Grade is accelerating, driven by weak coastal geology, heavier rainfall, and intensifying climate conditions. Emergency access is becoming uncertain, supply routes are disrupted, and entire communities are forced to live with growing risk beneath their daily routines. This is not simply a story about a damaged road. It is a story about time, trust, and the limits of engineering in the face of natural forces that refuse to stop. Chapter 1. A road that never stopped moving. Last chance. Grade did not fail in the way people often imagine disasters. There was no single night when the highway collapsed into the sea. No earthquake tore it apart. Instead, the danger lies beneath the pavement itself. A massive section of earth below the road is slowly sliding downhill, behaving less like solid ground and more like a thick, heavy flow. Geologists describe this phenomenon as an earth flow. Once it begins, it cannot be reversed. Steel reinforcements, retaining walls, and deep foundations cannot lock it in place. At best, they can slow it down. For more than a century, engineers have tried to do exactly that. Walls were built, strengthened, rebuilt, and repaired again. Cracks were sealed, only to reappear somewhere else weeks or months later. Over time, a difficult truth became unavoidable. These efforts were not stopping the movement, they were only preventing immediate collapse. The sliding surface lies hundreds of feet underground, meaning the road can look intact even as the entire mass beneath it continues to shift. Structures here are not designed to remain still. They are designed to bend, flex, and deform without breaking apart. That flexibility may sound reassuring, but it comes with a hard limit. Every structure has a lifespan. Steel fatigues, concrete cracks, and when one component fails beyond control, the chain reaction could unfold faster than crews can respond. Chapter 2. When the landslides arrive. California's coast has already seen what happens when this balance breaks. In March 2011, a major landslide in the Big Sur region shut down the highway for months. Engineers replaced one unstable section with a bridge and covered it with a protective rock shed. It was a temporary victory. In May 2017, the Mud Creek Slide buried nearly a third of a mile of highway under 40 feet of debris. More than 6 million cubic yards of earth moved at once, enough to fill hundreds of Olympic-sized swimming pools. The slide pushed the coastline outward, creating entirely new land where ocean once existed. Storms in early 2023 triggered another wave of landslides, forcing the closure of nearly 40 miles of highway. In some locations, the damage became so frequent that the state abandoned sections entirely, rerouting traffic rather than continuing repairs. Each event followed the same pattern. Heavy rain saturated unstable slopes. The ground gave way, roads closed, communities were cut off, and once repairs were finished, the risk quietly returned. These disasters are not isolated. They are recurring reminders that along California's coast, the land itself is still in motion. Chapter 3. A community held together by one road. For people living north of Last Chance Grade, this highway is not a scenic luxury. It is a lifeline. Schools, hospitals, grocery stores, and jobs all depend on it. When the road stays open, daily life feels normal. When it closes, everything slows, then begins to fracture. In Del Norte County, dairy farms ship products throughout California. Milk trucks pass through this narrow stretch of highway every week. When the road shuts down, those trucks are forced onto detours hundreds of miles long, adding hours to each trip and sharply increasing costs. Farming becomes less about profit and more about survival. Emergency services face even higher stakes. Medical supplies, ambulances, and urgent care depend on speed. In past closures, landslides split the highway so completely that medical workers carried blood supplies by hand across unstable ground to reach patients. In those moments, delays are not inconveniences. They are life or death decisions. Without this road, the only alternative route requires an 8-hour journey through mountain roads in Oregon and inland California. On a map, the landslide looks small. In reality, it isolates an entire region. As access becomes uncertain, tourism declines. Businesses suffer. Property values drop. Younger families consider leaving. Slowly, the weakness of the road begins to reshape the future of the community itself. Chapter 4. The promise and peril of a tunnel. Facing rising costs and constant repairs, a bold idea has taken center stage: a tunnel. Roughly 3 miles long, drilled deep enough to pass beneath the sliding earth, it promises a permanent connection unaffected by surface movement. No more retaining walls, no more seasonal closures, just a stable route beneath the problem itself. The price tag is enormous, around $2 billion. For a small population, the cost raises immediate questions. Yet for a community facing isolation, the tunnel starts to feel less like extravagance and more like survival. Exploratory drilling has begun. Rock samples have been analyzed. On paper, everything appears controlled and methodical. But one crucial fact often goes unspoken. The tunnel does not stop the earth flow. It simply avoids it. The land above will continue to move, reshaping the surface in unpredictable ways. The region also sits near the Cascadia subduction zone, capable of producing earthquakes far stronger than those seen in California's past. In such an environment, no structure can be considered permanent. $2 billion does not buy certainty, it buys time, and no one can say how much. Chapter 5. A risk that grows quietly. As the tunnel idea gains attention, a dangerous shift occurs. Focus moves to the future while the present becomes something to endure. Until the tunnel exists, if it ever does, last chance grade must continue carrying the full weight of the moving ground. Sensors in the hillside already show that during heavy rain years, the road can shift several inches in a single week. Each small movement increases repair costs and risk, even if no alarms sound. Closures become more frequent, detours grow longer, medical appointments are postponed, workdays stretch. Gradually, the road begins to dictate how people plan their lives. This creates a paradox. The more people believe a solution is coming, the more risk they tolerate now. The road remains in use not because it feels safe, but because there is no alternative. Trust begins to erode. Not trust in the road itself, but trust in the system responsible for protecting those who rely on it. Chapter 6. The hard choices ahead. There is no perfect solution left, only options that hurt less than others. Continuing to patch the road means accepting rising danger and costs. Each rainy season becomes a gamble. Eventually, the road may become impossible to keep open safely. The tunnel offers another path, but it concentrates the future of an entire community into a single structure built in an uncertain geological environment. If it fails, there is no backup plan. There is also a third option, rarely spoken aloud: planned retreat. Accepting that some places cannot remain as they are. Relocating services, creating new economic paths, helping residents move if they choose. This option carries cultural, economic, and psychological costs that are harder to measure than construction budgets. What makes the decision heavier is who makes it, not the engineers on site. Not the residents driving the road daily, but officials far from where the ground is moving. Last chance grade has become more than a highway. It is a mirror reflecting how society confronts limits it cannot fully control. There is no sudden disaster here, only a slow, persistent process that forces difficult questions. Should California gamble billions on a tunnel that may only buy time? Or is it time to accept adaptation instead of resistance? The ground continues to move, the road remains open, and an entire community lives in between, waiting. If you found this deep dive valuable, please take a moment to like the video. It helps more people discover stories like this and supports the work that goes into researching them. And if you want to keep exploring the hidden forces shaping our world, from unstable coastlines to critical infrastructure under pressure, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next journey. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being part of the conversation.